These are 20 weekend activities from the pre-internet era that once defined how families spent their precious free time together. Before screens consumed 6 hours of our daily lives, and before mindless scrolling became our default entertainment, weekends meant something entirely different. Let's start with the most sacred of weekend rituals, that Friday night pilgrimage to Blockbuster. Walking those carpeted aisles felt like entering a temple of entertainment. You would scan the new releases wall with the reverence of a museum visitor, hoping your coveted movie was still there. At its peak in 2004, Blockbuster operated over 9,000 stores worldwide, serving 65 million registered customers who understood that scarcity creates value. Every choice mattered because you were stuck with it for the whole weekend. Late fees weren't just penalties. They were harsh, but fair teachers of responsibility, and they generated $800 million in revenue for Blockbuster in 2000 alone. The entire ecosystem taught lessons that modern streaming can't replicate. Sometimes the movie you reluctantly settled for became a surprise favorite. No algorithm could match the human recommendation from that knowledgeable clerk who remembered what you liked. And yes, we definitely pretended to be new people just to get fresh cards and avoid those dreaded late fees. Shopping malls were not just retail spaces. They were the social headquarters of American youth. In the late 80s, over 1,200 enclosed malls dotted the landscape, each one a mini universe of possibility. Making laps was an art form. You would walk for hours, people watching, window shopping, and socializing in ways that required no purchase. Claire's was the holy grail of accessories. Spencer's Gifts was part gag store and part slightly scandalous wonderland. Sam Goody was where you would spend hours flipping through vinyl records and cassette tapes, debating whether to blow your allowance on Duran Duran or Bon Jovi. The golden age of arcades transformed quarters into tickets to digital adventure. Between 1980 and 1982, the number of video game arcades in North America doubled to 10,000 locations. By 1981, arcade revenues hit $8 billion, more than all major sports combined, 3 times the revenue of baseball, basketball, and football, and twice what Nevada casinos were making. Pac-Man alone generated weekly revenues of $200 to $800 per machine across its 400,000 cabinets worldwide. These were not just games. They were social gathering spots where skills were tested and friendships were forged over joysticks and high-score lists. Roller skating and roller disco ruled the weekend social scene, especially during the disco era of the 70s and early 80s. President Reagan even declared National Roller Skating Month in 1983, during the peak of roller disco culture. Those wooden floors, mirror balls, and pumping music created a world where coordination and confidence mattered more than anything digital. Drive-in theaters offered something magical that multiplexes could not. They gave families the freedom to bring the whole family, often in pajamas, without worrying about disturbing others. At their 1958 peak, over 4,000 drive-in theaters spread across America, complete with bottle warmers, diaper vending machines, and later miniature golf courses and swimming pools. Parents could watch movies while kids played or slept in the back seat. These outdoor theaters earned the nickname Passion Pits for obvious reasons, but they were really about creating shared experiences under the stars. Making mixtapes was a labor of love that could consume an entire afternoon. You didn't just pick songs, you crafted emotional journeys, numbering tracks, writing them in beautiful handwriting, and decorating covers before presenting them to lovers and friends. The art required patience, planning, and genuine thoughtfulness that our instant playlist culture has largely forgotten. Reading wasn't just an activity, it was a primary form of entertainment. In 1992, 61% of Americans had read a book for pleasure during the previous year, compared to just 48.5% in 2022. In 1985, more than 95 million adults read fiction, poetry, and drama, purchasing over 400 million copies through retail outlets. Without infinite digital distractions, books were weekend companions that demanded and rewarded sustained attention. Board games anchored family weekends in ways that required face-to-face interaction and patience. Monopoly marathons, Scrabble battles, and Trivial Pursuit competitions created memories that could not be paused, saved, or restarted. These games taught strategy, sportsmanship, and the art of graceful losing, skills that came from prolonged engagement with rules, chance, and human opponents. Bicycles weren't just transportation, they were freedom machines. Summer mornings began with screen doors slamming and ended only when streetlights flickered on. Children roamed neighborhoods in packs, building elaborate forts, inventing games with ever-changing rules, and settling disputes without adult intervention. This wasn't neglect. It was childhood, as it had existed for generations, teaching independence, creativity, and social navigation. Landline phone conversations stretched for hours, tethered by curly cords that became props for elaborate gesturing. Without call waiting, texts, or social media, these marathon sessions were where relationships deepened and gossip spread. The phone was shared family infrastructure that required negotiation and patience. Television watching was appointment-based entertainment. Must-see TV actually meant something when everyone watched the same shows at the same time. Water cooler conversations assumed shared cultural experiences because families gathered around single television sets, negotiating what to watch together. Movie theaters required planning and commitment. You would call movie phone, jump into the continuous loop recording wherever it was playing, and listen for your theater's showtimes. No online reviews, no spoilers, just the shared gamble of choosing entertainment based on trailers, word of mouth, and newspaper reviews. Outdoor sports happened spontaneously in neighborhood courts, parks, and empty lots. Pickup basketball games, touch football matches, and impromptu baseball required no organized leagues or scheduled practices. Kids learned teamwork, conflict resolution, and athletic skills through pure play, not structured programs. Cruising was the teenage social ritual of driving with no destination except the journey itself. Main streets and strip malls became parade routes where you would see and be seen, turning cars into mobile social spaces with conversations through windows rolled down. Bowling alleys were weekend institutions combining sport, socializing, and snack bar culture. They were not just places to knock down pins. They were community centers where leagues formed friendships and families bonded over shared strikes and splits. Libraries and bookstores served as weekend destinations for discovery and quiet exploration. Browsing shelves without knowing what you would find created serendipitous encounters with ideas and stories that algorithms could never predict. Fort building and outdoor play consumed entire days with nothing but imagination, found materials, and negotiated rules. Tree houses, backyard camps, and elaborate neighborhood games required creativity, cooperation, and the kind of sustained attention that screens have largely replaced. Record stores were cultural pilgrimage sites where music discovery happened through browsing, recommendations, and careful listening at preview stations. Album artwork mattered, liner notes were studied, and purchasing music required genuine commitment. Community events like block parties and neighborhood barbecues created organic social networks that crossed generational lines. These gatherings required no formal organization beyond word of mouth and potluck planning, yet they built the kind of social fabric that sustained communities. Writing letters and maintaining pen-pal relationships taught the art of thoughtful communication and delayed gratification. Handwritten correspondence required planning, penmanship, and patience, skills that made every received letter a treasured event worth saving. These were not just activities. They were the building blocks of a different kind of childhood and family life. They required presence, patience, and genuine human interaction in ways that created lasting memories and life skills. While we have gained incredible technological conveniences, we have also lost something irreplaceable. The art of being bored until creativity kicks in, the joy of anticipation, and the deep satisfaction of experiences that could not be skipped, fast-forwarded, or instantly shared with the world. The last Blockbuster in Bend, Oregon, now operates as a nostalgic shrine to this bygone era, attracting visitors who remember the thrill of browsing physical shelves of entertainment. Perhaps that pilgrimage site reminds us that some experiences are worth preserving, even in our hyper-connected age.